Hello interwebs, I'm Joel,
And I'm Elizabeth.
and today we're going to show you how to change the door panels on a Volvo 940. Okay. Okay, so let's get started. So first I want to go ahead and explain basically who this job is useful for. This is going to be good for anybody who has a Volvo 940 or most of the later 740s and some of the 760s. It kind of depends on the year, but one of the interesting things about these panels is they are basically the same and interchangeable between the 940s and many of the later half of the 740s. So if your panel looks like this, the process I'm explaining, it will work for you. The key here is we're working with a lot of 30-year-old plastic. It is brittle, it is prone to break. That's the reason I'm making this video. I want to show you how I remove these panels so as to protect the plastic and hopefully it doesn't break. I apologize if you hear our neighbor's barking dog, but he's excited about something. We will press on. The tools that I have, I'll show these to you. I've got a tiny screwdriver with kind of like a sharp point. I'm going to use that for getting some electrical connectors loose. I've got a pick tool that I'm going to use on the white clips under the door. And I have got a flathead screwdriver. And then, just in case I might need it, I went ahead and got a paint scraper. Personally, I might use that to pry some things. Bonus, there's actually a little door pocket right here that I will sometimes use to put my hardware in. So if you see me putting things in there, that's just where I'm placing everything. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to unscrew this actual, the lock indicator. It just unscrews lefty-loosey. And then it just comes right out like that. And we are then going to pry out our little red reflector here. Now this one's not actually installed fully because I know that this door panel's not seated right. But you can just pry that off gently. These don't normally break if you're gentle with them. But when you reinstall these, this piece will actually slide behind one of the studs in the door. So just something to keep in mind. These speaker covers right here, this one's not installed correctly because this door panel's not on the right way, but the key is these door panels go forward, or these speaker grills go forward. They don't just come right out. There's two tabs that are hidden right here, and then there's two studs that you can't see that this would normally be hooked on. So normally what you want to do is get something behind here and then just go forward with it. These do break pretty easily. This is where the studs would come through, but this door panel, like I said, isn't really fitting correctly. You could see where the little hooks are. They're both kind of broken. This one's in better shape. I've got a ton of these spares from junkyards, so when I fit the cleaner door panel, I'll see if I have one that fits a little bit better. One of the other things I'd want to show you is this is a spare door carpet that I have, and the reason I want to show it to you is so that you can see the three studs that this actually hooks onto. They're just plastic, and you can see that the way that they're shaped in such a way that the front two right here, you would need this to go forward, I guess, but this one goes the other way. So I've never had much luck getting these off without just using brute force. Which I may or may not have done on a crappy door panel at the junkyard. But we're not going to be taking this off today because that's not my preferred method for removing this panel. I'm just showing this to you, so if you prefer to take these off first, be my guest. That just isn't the way that I do it. The last preliminary thing we're going to do is we're going to take off some white clips underneath the door. Now there's three, you can't see them. There's like one here, and one here. The reason I'm using this pick tool is because I want to get up under the clip and I want to pull it. So I'm going to get the middle one. And there you go. So that's what the white clips look like. I totally cheated, and before I started this video, I already took off the other two. But what I did was I hooked the pick tool like that and just pulled down. These just snap onto a stud. So there you go. None of that is particularly hard. We're gonna move on to the tricky part where people often get into trouble and break some plastic here. The first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use my Phillips. I don't know if you can see down in here, there is actually one little piece of plastic, and I'm literally just gonna turn it. Actually, I think it's already loose. I think when it's installed, it should be like that, and when it's loose, it should be perpendicular to the door. And this is one area where you can just pull up on this a little bit, and that'll usually get this piece loose. And if I can get it out, that's what that looks like. So it's just one of these clips that has to be oriented a certain way to get it out. This is the long piece that often breaks. It's very flimsy right here, and it doesn't go around behind the window switches. It's actually just what you see, and then a little bit recessing into here. So what I'm gonna try and do is I'm going to try and get the window switch panel with your mirrors controls. I'm gonna try to get that clear just a little bit, and then hopefully this plastic trim will come with it. You have a few different options. I like the pick tool for this because it will get up underneath the actual item, and if you see, I can actually maybe pull that up just a little bit. And one of the things that might interfere with this is the actual carpet. So this is one of the reasons people take the carpet out, is because it can have a tendency to block your progress. So, you know, what you can do is maybe put a little bit of pressure like this. You notice as I did that, this actually popped free a little bit. I'm just trying to do just a little bit to get that switch up, and then I'm gonna try to take the trim with it. There we go. Nice and easy does it. Doesn't always come that easily. If you don't want to be as reckless as me, you can use something a little less invasive than a pick tool. There you go. This one I've had removed before. Maybe that's why it was kind of easy. But once you get that out together, you notice I didn't put any pressure on this plastic. So you can slide that out with a little bit of gentle prying. You can see why these break. They look flimsy, they are flimsy. There's no aftermarket equivalent that I know of. This is a Volvo part. Definitely gonna just put that aside. And then I'm going to focus on getting this window switch out. Now, in order to do that, we've got a couple of little red tabs. There's only two, and they're down at one end of it. I don't know the right way to remove this. I just know the way that I remove it. I tend to try and release it just a little bit in order to try and get this out. I do think that something like the paint scraper works better than like a screwdriver, just because it's thinner. Obviously, I guess that depends on the screwdriver. So there you go. I got that moving. We'll flip it around. Do the same thing over here. What I'm actually prying on is just like a cage that holds the switches. And I'm sure somebody out there is better at removing these than I am, and they're cringing or something. But you know, like I said, it's old plastic. Just take it easy. There is no rush. And maybe I'll switch to the Phillips or to the flathead. You may be dealing with window switches in here that haven't been off in 30 years, and that might make things a little more interesting for you. You notice sometimes the red piece takes the switch with them. Sometimes the red piece doesn't, like this black one isn't coming off. So there you go, and Bob's your uncle. So if you have a window switch or windows that's not working, and you believe that it is not an issue with the motor or the regulator, and you think it might be the actual switch, these are the things that you would take out. Figure out which window it is, take it out, clean the contacts, do that whole thing. Now, the other cool thing I like about this is that you can't put these in wrong. They have these little ears, and they only fit in the right place. So if you take the red thing off and they're all, you know, flopping every which way, it's totally fine. They were designed by Volvo to, that you can't get them wrong, basically. I like to tuck these down in there because we are gonna take off our door panel. Now, one last thing I want to point out, don't pull on this. These door pockets, they do break. Strangely enough, I think these are available aftermarket, but you don't want to break it if you don't have to. So I'm going to grab the door by the sides, and then I'm going to go straight up with the door panel. So I'm going to pull back, and then straight up. There you go. Now, one last thing I usually do is I set the door on the studs down below, because there are actually two connectors you have to remove that I want to show you. And one of them is this white connector over here. You can see that. I tend to use a flathead just to like get one of the ears off, if I even need it. The key is you want to get it a little bit loose, and then that will come off. And then over here, if you can see that, it's basically just your speaker wires. Again, you can't get these wrong because there's a skinny one and a wider one. That's basically it. At that point, your door panel will come free. Hooray! And basically your installation is going to be the opposite of removal. I do want to show you one more thing up close. This is something that gave me a lot of trouble when I learned how to remove these, but this is your door handle. This is the actual thing you pull on when you open the door. It would not be crazy difficult to remove, except for people don't always realize that on the release handle there is a plug, and that plug has a little hole in it. So if you put a pick tool down in there, it's very odd. The plug is rubber, and there is a tiny screw down in that hole. We don't have to take that off because we're not replacing the handle. I will be doing that on the 740 project because that needs a door handle, and I'm looking forward to that very much. So there you go. That's the process. Take your time. Old plastic, don't break it. Take your time and you should be good to go. That's all I got. Thanks for watching.